Now here we have our lower the face shield circuit, right, with our breadboard, our servo, our ultrasound sensor, and then our two LEDs. And remember that second LED was kind of a challenge for you to rewire it. So the second LED should also be on your breadboard. And it's same wiring as the yellow, just in a different spot on the breadboard. But now let's get started on our code. So here we have the code for our social distance alarm. And again, this is just kind of the skeleton of the code left for you to fill in the blanks, as well as make sure the pin numbers match your circuit. So for this next section of the code, right, we need to program our servo to rotate when something's closer than 3 feet. So remember, this is our red LED, right? So this is when something's less than 3 feet. So I'm going to put in a comment just so I remember that's what this block is. So when something is less than 3 feet. Right, so this is our red light. So when something's less than 3 feet, we want our red light to still blink, so we can leave this part. But we also want our servo to rotate, right? But then when something's greater than 3 feet, we always want our servo to be up. So in order to program that, we kind of have to adjust our code a little bit for our red LED. Our yellow LED is going to stay the same, right? So this is when something's between 3 and 6 feet. So I'm just going to take this and put it off to the side for now, because this will be the exact same. But for our red LED, we're going to need a different control, because this one only allows us to say, if this condition is true, then do something. But we need a different control that says, if this condition is true, do this. If not, do something else, right? So if not, we want our face shield to be up. So let's go look at the controls. So if we look at the controls, here's our if then. And right below it, we have our if else statement, right? If then else. So this will allow us to say that if something's within 3 feet, then blink red and rotate the servo. Otherwise, so else, rotate our servo back up. So our face shield's only up if, or only down if something's within 3 feet. So let's bring this in. And then I'm just going to transfer all of this over to our new control. So again, this goes inside the if statement. We can go ahead and delete that old one. So we've got if something is less than 3 feet, right? So if our distance is less than 3 feet, then we want to blink red. And we also want our servo to rotate. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in this rotate servo block. Right? And again, that's in an output. So it's something coming from the Arduino going outside, telling an object on the outside to do something. So rotate servo on a certain pin. So remember, you have to match that pin number. And then we want it to rotate a certain amount of degrees. So maybe 90 degrees. Again, that's a little up to you. And then we have this else statement, right? So if our distance is not less, don't want to move that. If our distance is not less than 3 feet, what do we want? We want our servo to rotate back up. So our face shield is back up. And we can go ahead and put our if statement back in. So it's going to be super important now that our code is getting more complicated to start using comments. So I've got a comment here when something is less than 3 feet. Just letting me know that that's what this block is doing. Remember, the comments don't actually change anything. They're just there to help you kind of understand what's happening in the code. So I'm going to put in something here saying when our distance is less or is between 3 and 6 feet, right? That's when our kind of yellow light comes on, right? And I'm blinking yellow. And then I'm also going to add a comment here to remind myself that I'm blinking red. And then maybe another comment for my servo that says lower face shield. And then one more, maybe to say raise face shield. Right. So the comments are going to be super important for you to put in just to kind of keep track of your code. But here is kind of the basics, kind of skeleton of your code. And remember, you need to double check the pin numbers, right? As well as fill in the blanks on these like if statements, right? So you should have some of it done from your social distance alarm, but just kind of make sure everything matches your circuit and try and see if you can figure out what goes in each block of your code. And then you should have a working lower the face shield circuit and code.